to our chamber luncheon. We will be dark in December, and we'll start back up our meetings in January. Want to give a rundown, or you want to give a rundown?
Oh, you can give a rundown.
Okay. So we had a joint venture, you might call it, with the Vietnam Wall, with Armac School District and Chamber of Commerce, which was last week. And
Sorry.
and it was a huge success of the community coming together and making a great thing happen, and very successful. We have the Parade of Lights and Santa's Village coming up December 2nd. We wanted that to be a community event as well, so we got Armac and Rogue One and Chris Brewer Automotive, Carl's. Everybody's come together as a community, making that happen as well. That's going to be a pretty big event. We're doing the toy giveaway, food giveaway, as well as clothing giveaway. And we're going to have some county representatives in Santa's Village, and then we're also going to have vendors on the street itself, and in addition to the parade in the evening. So we're looking forward to that. That'll be our last event of the year. Huh?
What time?
For the parade, or the parade will be 6 p.m., but we'll be having activities from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. So we're going to have Santa in the morning giving away gifts and take a break and come back. After the parade, there'll be more Santa toy giveaway. So we're doing a toy drive and donations from Solars. Terrigen is a diamond. I believe a diamond sponsor on that as well, so thank you, Terrigen.
Thank you so much.
And I believe BHE and a couple others. So
You got pizza.
it's been a very, very good year for community activity, and that was kind of one of our focuses with the chamber at the start of the year, is to have more community ownership and projects and events around town, and not just owned by the chamber, or owned by another entity, whatever. We need it to be a community event, get community involvement, and it seems to be going that direction and having a lot of success. Come on in, Louis.
Thank you. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Good to see you.
How you doing?
I was also going to mention, since Louis is here, one of our CSU volunteers passed away about a week and a half ago, Ron Bailey. So we're sorry to see him go, and we're going to miss him for that. He did a lot for the community. Beyond that, anything you want to say?
No, I think that's it. I just want to thank everybody for all their participation in the Vietnam Wall. To put that together was a huge event for us. A lot of planning and strategic work, and then it came off really good without a hitch. And the weather even cooperated. Tuesday was a little windy, but we lived. But after that, we had a really nice weather, I thought. Friday and Saturday was extremely nice, so I want to thank you for that. If you had any control over the weather, I appreciate that. Thank you. Other than that, we hope to have a really nice Christmas parade, lighted parade, lots of entries. We're working on that really hard. And take this opportunity to wish you happy holidays too. We'll probably see most of you again. But Thanksgiving is coming up, and Christmas. Happy holidays from the chamber. We appreciate all your help. We appreciate everything you've done for us all year, and we look forward to even a better year next year. So, thank you.
All right, let's do, hey, Natalie made it.
Brought gifts. Oh, boy.
Yeah. The Santa gifts?
Yeah, Yeah, secret Santa.
Jane, do you know how many people viewed the wall? Any idea?
No, I don't know any.
Barbara probably had a better idea than I would have had.
I believe we had over 400 there on Friday night and Saturday, and throughout the week, I would say it was a few thousand at least.
Yeah, we probably had about, I'm gonna guess here, but about 5,000 people all told come through.
We had students on Tuesday and Wednesday representing Southern Kern, and also Mojave School District came. Yeah, it was, and I was even told that during the wee hours of the morning there were people there.
I can tell you, yeah, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, my husband did the graveyard shift every night.
Oh, okay.
And so he's seen people coming, young people coming just to pay their respects. So he said there was quite a few people in between, because he worked from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
So in between that time, there was people that stopped by.
Well, I relieved him at 6 most mornings, so.
Thank you. Oh,
Okay, let's do introductions, and I'll bypass Cynthia to the last with our introductions. So,
I'm Gretchen Winfrey with the Kern Antelope Historical Society. We just had a big event at our last meeting. We wanted to document the whole deep pit barbecue process of Raleigh Duntley, who came to the valley in the early 1900s. And there's a park in Lancaster named for Raleigh Duntley, and his grandson, Raleigh Davis, who actually works for the school and was very involved in trying to put the wall up, also did our deep pit barbecue. We interviewed him. It's going to be posted on our YouTube channel, I guess. So we now have documentation of the process of the deep pit barbecue that made Raleigh Duntley so famous in the Antelope Valley. And of course, he was a man who gave a lot of his time, and of course, Raleigh, his grandson, who's trying to make sure the wall got put up and do the deep pit barbecue, followed in his grandfather's footsteps. We also had his granddaughter, Ina, talk about the history of her grandfather at our meeting. And as soon as we get a few glitches, we will have that posted on our YouTube channel also.
thank you, Gretchen. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm Laura Lynn Wyatt, District Director for Kern County Supervisor Zach Scrivener's office. And just a couple things to share. The improvement project and remodel of Mojave East Park is out of planning and has gone out to contractor bid. We expect construction early of 2024 with an estimated completion of June 2024. And also a company called Pacific Steel announced that they are going to be putting in a plant. They are in the EIR phase of their process, and it will be just south of Mojave, between Mojave and Rosamond. And it's estimated it'll bring about 400 permanent new jobs to the area. So from an economic standpoint, that's a big story right now.
That's huge.
And in 2024, the community of Rosamond will see a lot of road construction and bike path and pedestrian improvement projects. There's going to be a lot of road work. Bear with the county, please. It's needed, but during the construction, it always causes a little bit of a headache for everybody. But the projects will turn out nice, I think. So that's all I have for today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Gary?
Yes, I'm Jared Fidel. I'm the Chief Investigator for the Kern County District Attorney's Office.
Please.
I'm just here to see invite anybody to join the unit of the Seeds Unit volunteers because we lost a couple of weeks ago. We just lost one, plus we lost there for almost 25 years. we approved in the same as the church department. I would like to see now that she's here with the supervisor SAC, and what they're going to do about the bring more deputies to the community. Because now before back in the 2012 when I joined the unit, there was in Rosamond, when we had the sheriff department office open, we have 16 members in our TSU, and we allow available to patrol overnight, like 2 units every night, or during the day in schools and the community. And we were able to cut a few people doing the wrong stuff and be able to call the sheriff department and they take care of business. But now our community is very thin deputies because we don't have enough, and we lost that in the unit. We only have 5 members. It's only 2 of us are pretty much active right now. So and this particular matter, it says we have like 12 application in a unit, but it's sitting there in the office with the to be clear for the sheriff department. So that's, I know it's not up against to do pretty much anything we do our recruiting, but the application is there and there. So that's here.
Thank you, Louis. In case you didn't hear, he's with CSU of the Sheriff's Department as a volunteer. Natalie?
Hi, Natalie Willis, representing Hydro Store. We're just kind of winding down from the energy summit that we had yesterday, and Hydro Store hosted a lunch there. And I brought some little party favors that we passed out. Little compressed air cans with a catchy little slogan on it. Hydro Store sticker. I placed all of them myself. So if any of you want one, just come up after the meeting and I'll give it to you.
Oh, I could use that. Fran?
Francis Thompson, longtime resident of Rosamond.
Joel McKay, chairman of RMAC. Just to let everybody know we're going to be dark November and December due to conflicts and the holidays coming up. We'll be meeting again in January. And just to touch on what Jack said with the parade, the community, us, and working with the chamber and the community, I foresee many more projects in the future with community cooperation. So.
Okay. Terrigen side?
Hi, I'm Carolyn Wiles from Terrigen, operating company, and we're a wind farm out in the Mojave area. I'm happy to be here.
Riddell Castellon, Terrigen, General Manager for wind operations here in the Mojave Tehachapi region. And I'm also a 35-year resident of Rosamond.
Oh, thank you.
Barbara Gaines, Superintendent of Schools, Southern Kern Unified.
Anna?
Anna Zari with the Office of Assemblyman. Not much going on right now since they're all just visiting constituents right now. But if anybody has any concerns, they can reach out to our office.
Al?
Alfred Wallace, Rosamond Community Services.
John?
John Joyce with the Rosamond News for 39 years and enjoying the news more than ever now, particularly the web site presentation of the wall. We have 3 different presentations on YouTube for everybody to see all that went on. It was really a magnificent outpouring of community involvement in Rosamond, and Superintendent Gaines is the one that really led it early on and got excited about it and got everybody else excited about it and raised a lot more money than they needed to put it here, which they're going to use the money for the next showing, wherever that is, I think.
Okay, let me just kind of come back on that. We have not completed the deductions from the amount. As I mentioned in the committee, Southern Kern initially put up the $7,500 to sign that contract to bring the wall to Rosamond. Southern Kern we will not ask for our $7,500 back. So we have other things to pay, like we have to pay for the security out of that $19,000 that we raised. We have to pay for the printing of materials. We have to pay for some food items that were there and water, things that we had going on all week. And we're also having a luncheon for all of the volunteers on January 6th. To sort of, we're going to present them with a little takeaway from the Vietnam Wall Memorial and the luncheon. And then after that is done, and we've paid for that luncheon, then whatever is left, we cannot keep as a school district. A check will be presented at our board meeting to the AV Wall Committee to jumpstart whoever is going to have the wall in November of 2024.
There's one going, that wall is going to Pico Rivera in May.
Yes, I've heard also Simi Valley in May. I'm not sure which one is the right one. Maybe it is Pico
Yeah,
Rivera.
Pico Rivera and then Simi Valley in November.
Okay, then we'll probably
How that works out.
donate it toward the next Veterans Day event, sort of to help them get started, so that they don't have to start like we did with basically from scratch. But yeah, we raised over 19,000, not counting the 75 that Southern Kern put in initially.
That's amazing. Good job.
And the community did it, so thank you, community. And Mr. Scrivener also was a donor in that amount as well.
That's awesome.
Great. Let's see, I believe we caught everything except for Captain Willis. Why don't you give us your name?
Hello, everybody. I'm Captain Coleman.
Or Coleman, I'm
I'm
sorry.
the Sheriff's Department of CSU here in Rosamond, and we're just glad to be here. This is our first time here, and hope to enjoy it.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm Gene Melcher, President of the Chamber of Commerce.
I'm Jack Miller, Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce. All right, we have a very prestigious guest today, guest speaker. Absolutely. She is our Kern County District Attorney, and she's going to speak to us today. And we want everybody a big warm welcome to Cynthia Zimmer.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I have about 4 things I want to discuss with you, and then just open it up to questions. The first thing is crime. We are still suffering with some of the changes in the law, both in Sacramento with Assembly Bill 109 from 2011, and then state propositions that passed in the last decade, Prop 47 and Prop 57. This causes a lot of problems. We're still dealing with that. It has affected us where in prior years, people that are out committing crimes would have never been there because they would have been in custody. So there is an initiative that may get on the ballot during the presidential election, so I guess that would be November of next year, that potentially fixes some of the aspects of Proposition 47 as it deals with drug offenses and theft offenses. So we can actually get some prison time potentially again for those that steal and use and sell drugs. So we'll see how that goes. The propositions are hard, they're expensive, and I understand the governor's office and some others are trying to thwart that in the legislature, so we'll see. The polling has it, initial polling, that Californians would be willing, Republicans and Democrats, to have some changes in the law to protect them. The second thing that I'd like to talk about is the courthouse. I don't know if you read anything a few months ago about how the judges had plans to potentially close the Mojave and Ridgecrest Courthouse and relocate it into Hatchie. That was a problem for me because I think access to justice for everyone is very, very important. The reason that that came up was, or came before the judges, and they don't control what happens, but they seek, their input is sought after in Sacramento for those that decide about the building of courthouses. The Mojave Courthouse and the Ridgecrest Courthouse are both very old and set to be new courthouses there. They're very high on a list. And they're expensive courthouses, so they go off of a list. And we knew that we were on the list for years, getting people to come out to East Kern. Well, they get paid a lot of money. So that's just, too bad. So my office, Public Defender's Office, and many in the community, including your elected officials, including Zach Scrivener, fought that plan, which was to close Ridgecrest, close Mojave, and build the new courthouse in Ridgecrest. So that was thwarted. I think they're going to build a new courthouse out here somewhere. Hopefully it will be in Mojave, but they're not going to close Ridgecrest. I think it's a problem for Rosamond, if you have to, which is, I'm told, the fastest growing, not a city, but a township or area in Kern County. For you to continue, you'd have to go to Tehachapi for court, where it's not used so much. It's really actually impoverished people that go to court. They're poor people. They're people that are victims, that are victimized, vulnerable people, and also people who commit crimes. And if they don't go to court, they're not going to be able to resolve their issues. So we hope it stays in Mojave, because this area is Rosamond, Cal City, Mojave, Boron, and Tehachapi. So we think the ideas of the supervisors who used to be in charge of building courthouses. The county doesn't do it anymore. It's a state issue. And so we hope they remain, and we get some land there, and if the courthouse remains in Mojave, that would be best. And if you have any input on that, I think that Zach would like to hear that. The third thing I'd like to talk about would be Measure K. Measure K was the initiative, the county initiative, that was on the ballot last year, and that was the increase in sales tax for unincorporated Kern to catch it up with some of the incorporated cities. That passed, and our office got some of the money. And with that, we were able to hire, and we're in the process, we're not quite there yet, 8 investigators, 4 investigative specialists, and 4 victim advocates and paralegals. And what we did, what we're going to do, our plan, and my chief of the Bureau of Investigation is here, and he can answer questions as well. We have a police force within the DA's office, and they're sworn peace officers, and they are able to do investigation of crimes. It's usually crimes that are already, someone's been arrested, but not always. We do some original investigation, mostly in large-scale fraud cases and things like that, or political integrity type cases. But we do mostly follow-up, but we have divided the county into 4 quadrants of the unincorporated areas, and with our money, we are seeking to put 2 investigators and an investigative specialist in Rosamond for East Kern. And we thought we had an office over by the grocery store, but I think we've lost it. But we're looking for office space. We have one for sure person that we know who's going to go, he lives in Ridgecrest. He works for the Sheriff's Department right now. He's going to come to work for us. And then we have one other that we're going to assign, and we have our specialists ready to go. So we're looking for an office. We think good things are going to happen. We can help you with things, especially having, someplace. We'll have patrol vehicles, and just want to assist in public service with public safety here. Also, if there's issues with victims getting to court, we can do transportation. Our advocates can help victims with restitution and services. And so just a lot of things that our office can do to help with public safety here. We're also serving a lot of warrants. So sheriff's departments really, you know, they're at a difficult time. They're getting better with personnel, with hiring. And so one of the things that we do to help them is serve warrants. When people have warrants for their arrest, sometimes they're just out in the streets. And so they need to go to jail. So we'll be helping with that, one of the initial things that we do. And then the last thing I'd like to talk to you about are the illegal marijuana dispensaries, specifically in your community. We have been working very hard. I don't know if you have heard about all the Sheriff's Department raids on the pot shops here. You have a really large amount of pot shops for the population. I think you probably know why, because people from Los Angeles are coming up here. It's probably cheaper in illegal pot shops because it is illegal in unincorporated Kern to have a marijuana dispensary. It is illegal in every city in Kern County as well as in all of unincorporated Kern except for California City. Their city council voted to legalize that. This all came about with Prop 64, where voters in California made marijuana legal, dispensaries and cultivation, unless the jurisdictions in each location throughout California voted no. And that's what Kern County voted no. They did not want pot shops in Kern County, so they are illegal. They are a problem. They are a problem in Bakersfield. The most of them in Bakersfield are in Oildale, because that's unincorporated Kern. There are some in the city of Bakersfield too, but they are a problem. The marijuana that they use, that they sell in these pot shops, that is grown illegally, and they use pesticides that are illegal in the United States that come here from Mexico. And so the marijuana has these pesticides in it, and it is very dangerous, very carcinogenic. They are crime havens. They are, the people that are in there are criminals. They are run by organized crime. And it's very difficult in order to shut those down, because when the Sheriff's Department, and the Sheriff's Department is aided by others too, the Bureau of Cannabis Control is a state agency. They come in and help, and we help too. We've been out, I think, on every Rosamond raid that's happened. But what happens is, at least one of the problems of why you shut them down and then they're back within a couple of hours is that the people that are arrested are they're the people that are in there working. We call them the bud dogs. So the mafia just gets more in the money. But we've seized hundreds of pounds of marijuana, psilocybin, that's mushrooms, other types of drugs, guns, and a lot of cash out of these pot shops. And some have closed down. But one of the things I think that we are doing, and I think we're the first county in California to do this, is we are not only continuing to hit these places and take their money and take their property and forfeit it, but we're also suing them civilly. The district attorney's office has the power under the state law to sue in civil court for certain things. Under the Business and Professions Code, it's called an unlawful business practice, like a consumer fraud action. For a landlord to knowingly rent to an illegal operation is a violation of the Business and Professions Code, and the fines are like more than $1,000 a day. So what we're doing is going in and raiding the pot shops and making sure that there is marijuana in there and it's documented, and then giving notice to the landlord that you are on notice that you are renting to an illegal enterprise. You must vacate or cause them to be vacated, kick them out, their tenant. There are a lot, unless the owner of the property is also the person who's running the pot shop. We have had great success. So far, we have shut down 24 pot shops with the threat of lawsuit in Kern County. And we were going to go by and see how many you had now here. We will do that when we leave. But we have been very successful. Some of them come back up, and many of them are in the process. But we have now filed 7 civil lawsuits in Kern County against landlords who are not evicting their clients. We have finished one of those lawsuits, and we got a judgment for the county of Kern of $2 million. Okay, we are going to, we're in litigation about that because what the owner tried to do is quit claim the property to someone else who was his relative, and it was an illegal conveyance, but we're litigating that right now. We are going to, seize the property most likely and do the types of things that go after what we can do to exact a judgment in a civil case. I'm really proud of that. Supervisor Scrivener is working closely with this. He has complained to us about what are you going to do about the pot shops. I don't like what's going on in Rosamond. I've come out and looked at them. We've talked about it. You have something in a strip mall where there's a pot shop there, or something close by where there's been a barber shop or a dry cleaners and some of these places, and it just ruins the business. So I want you to know we're working really hard on this. I hired someone who was working on, who's an attorney in my office, who's working on this exclusively, is what he's doing, these civil lawsuits. And we're not really flush with the lawyers right now. I can tell you this is kind of it's something that I feel that's very important to the quality of life for people of Kern County, especially some of the smaller areas that it's unnecessary attraction for crime. So hopefully at some point we'll get rid of all this mess. One of the shops here, it's a little bit elusive for us because we can't figure out who the owner is. So that takes a lot of work to figure it out. Some of them are out of state. And we're really trying to educate the public about marijuana and about how dangerous it is, really. This is not an issue about whether or not you believe people should be allowed to smoke marijuana. That issue has already been decided. It's not really an opinion there. The issue is that's illegal in the county of Kern. So we aren't just going to turn a blind eye, and because it is really dangerous. And you should see some of the derelicts in Kern County or in Bakersfield that hang out at those pot shops and residential neighborhoods. It's pretty dangerous. There's a lot of crime in there. And now, I mean, there's the whole issue of cultivation, and I don't want to go on too long, but they have cultivation sites that are illegal out in the desert, and now they're starting to put them in people's backyard up in Kings County. Jared and I we went to a conference and we were educated about how the mafia is going in to some of these people that don't have much money in some of these kind of outlying areas and say, hey, they have a little bit bigger backyards. Can I rent your backyard for 3 months for $10,000 cash? And they grow weed there, and I think it's about a 90-day crop. And so that's something that we hope doesn't come to Kern County, but we're seeing it, and it's just really dangerous for the neighbors. How'd you like somebody, doing a commercial enterprise? And they're also labor trafficking their workers who are immigrants, and we're starting to see Chinese people wanting to come to the U.S., and they're labor trafficking them, and they're basically keeping them as servants. And so that's my spiel. I hope it's relevant to Rosamond. I don't know everything that goes on out here, but I do know you have some crime issues, in part because of your proximity to Lancaster. People come over to the border to our beautiful Kern County.
I heard a rumor that some of the places were actually lacing it with fentanyl.
There are other drugs. Are you talking about in the marijuana dispensaries that they sell other drugs and meth, and meth has a lot of fentanyl in it. Jared, do you know if we've hit any pure fentanyl?
No, not that I know of. But they're selling illicit drugs, so they're probably selling pills out the back too.
Mm-hmm. And fentanyl's everywhere. Pills in powder form. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. We're seeing a notice with the raids, and especially when they're happening every month. Everybody's taking notice. But one of the issues we're having, and I turned in my neighbor. They bought the property for $850,000, had some outbuildings, indoor pool, and turned it into a marijuana grow where they were having a semi-truck diesel bring in their fuel every week. And for the last 6 months, they've abandoned the property, but they're popping up on some of our social media. I had the sheriff PIO put out a thing for us for numbers to call, but they're popping up in the neighborhoods. And I was talking with the grows. They're using a residential home. Okay. And I was talking to inside their homes. Okay. So I was talking with Assemblyman Garcia. I'm part of PORAC, a retired member, and he was saying that there's no legislation with teeth. is there something that we could reach out maybe to Assemblyman Lackey and get some legislation where it gives you more tools in your tool bag to go after the homes and get them out of our neighborhoods?
So illegal indoor hydroponic, illegal indoor cultivation of a number of plants that's over what is allowed, because I think Prop 64 allows a certain number of, and so it's for sale. Well, I think we do have some teeth for that, don't we? I mean, that's maintaining a residence where drugs are sold, and I think that gets you to, well, it's not sold, where they're cultivated. I have to look that up as far as legislation. This is Sacramento, and Tom Lackey is really a friend to law enforcement.
Oh yeah, no,
Really a friend.
He's great.
He's wonderful. He was on the chair of the Public Safety Committee, and but there's nothing that you're going to get out of Sacramento.
But yeah, like I said, the problem we're
I mean,
having.
it sounds good, but it's not going to pass.
No.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to think what we have.
Well, there's probably some code enforcement violations.
Yeah, that's what I've been. That's what
There's
I've been hitting them on. Is usually, and it's crazy. I don't want to sound racist, but when like Armenians come in and do the crime, they usually keep the property spotless. But these are just the opposite. It's growing up waist high. So I've been hitting them with code enforcement, taking pictures and sending.
So
and I think that kind of spooked them a little bit, and they've kind of slowed down.
So you're saying the Armenian criminals are real clean?
Yeah.
When they do that, but other.
No. Usually.
Because they're part of the Armenians or the Russians are part of the organized crime.
Right, no, but normally their MO, especially them, is they'll come into and they want to stay under the radar. But these guys are just the opposite. I mean, I've called, like I said, I've been lucky to be able to use code enforcement. Code enforcement says we can't get involved with the marijuana grow, but we can hit them for the the weeds. And I said I'm scared they're bringing in a diesel truck full of diesel with all the overgrown. It's an explosion waiting to happen, and we're going to lose a whole block out there.
These are the kinds of things that we really want to hear about
Yeah.
when our Measure K investigators come out here. Because the sheriff's department is doing a lot of calls for service. Call.
Oh yeah, they're understaffed.
And they have a little bit, and they'll come for something like that. But our people are more of a detective level. They're all from the sheriff's department, and they are sergeants, former sergeants, lieutenants, and so forth. So I think that's something that we can really look at for a Measure K. Try to help you with that and figure that out. We can do surveillance and different things. And see what they're doing.
Yeah. The other thing, when the sheriff came out, and he basically brought up a problem with the jails not having enough staff.
The jail is our biggest problem.
Right, keeping people in jail instead of this. Like I have, like I said, I retired from LA County and have a lot of friends, and they caught a guy with like 9 caliber murder, a bunch of cash, and they decided to release him. And that we're so, like you said, so close to LA County.
Why?
Yeah, because of the DA over there.
Well, there's that, but do you know why people are cited and released? What happened when Jerry Brown came in 2011?
Yeah.
It's AB 109.
Yeah.
What happened is when you have felonies, almost anybody that was convicted of a felony for any crime could, if they had a sufficient record and the crime was sufficient enough, they would go to prison. So everybody from murder to car theft to dealing heroin, all that. AB 109 passed, and the legislature said, no, not every felon gets to go to prison now. We only want the certain ones to go to prison. The lower level felonies, which are very serious crimes, sales of drugs, car theft, all those types, any type of theft, then you'll get your sentence in court in maybe 12 years, but you'll do your time in the county jail. So what that did, which is Laredo, the county jail, that displaced all the people out, and there's no room. I mean, the prisons are massive size, but our county jail is not even close to even the size of one prison. So there's not enough people and not enough room, infrastructure to support AB 109. That's why you have homeless. That's why you have drug addicts, because these people are displaced out on the streets where they would have been in jail. And that's kind of the key point I started out with. That until we get that fixed
Like
and allow them to go back to prison.
Like the smash and grabs. They'll be arrested, and then they'll get arrested the next day doing another smash and grab.
Well, smash and grabs in Kern County do not get arrested and get out and do it the next day. They do that in LA because the smash and grabs are serious felonies, and in Kern County you'll go to jail.
That's great.
And your Kern County DA will hopefully send them to prison. Those are serious felonies.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want to say thank you, first of all, for the work you're doing with the pot shops.
Thank you.
We are seeing drug issues in our schools. We have 6 schools in Rosamond, and most of the problem is at the high school. Although I will tell you, last year I had 4th graders smoking marijuana at Rosamond Elementary School. fourth graders, let me repeat that. And so we are doing whatever we can as a school district to educate the parents, to bring them in and say, look at this drug paraphernalia, maybe some of it looks like a lip gloss. It's these vapes and things, and we had many parents who were shocked about it. But I'm very concerned because I'm seeing kids with not one vape necessarily, with up to as many as 10 vapes on them. And we bring the drug dogs in every single month randomly at all schools. Do you see? It is terrible. So I appreciate anything that you can do to help this, because a handful of kids, but it's ongoing. The majority of our students in Southern Kern are phenomenal kids. Let me say that first and foremost. But another issue that we're having as a school district, it used to be that the district attorney's office would provide us support with this chronic absenteeism.
Yep. We had 3 people devoted to that, but we don't get paid to do it anymore.
Yeah.
No grants. The state won't give us grants, and so, yeah.
And it's so hard.
And I want to tell you, going back to your earlier comment about drugs in the schools and getting less and less, lower and lower in age, there's also a lot of guns that come in to high schools throughout Kern County. And part of the problem is the legislature has also weakened the laws as far as juvenile prosecutions. It is very difficult for us. They got rid of CYA, California Youth Authority. It's actually a really good program for very serious offenders. It was in Prop 57. The voters voted for it. It's very difficult for us to prosecute juvenile killers as adults anymore. What you have to go through to be able to do that is very, very difficult. And so the juvenile court system the juvenile justice system is not what it used to be. And I think the juveniles are suffering for it. I will tell you that if you have 4th graders who are bringing marijuana to school, I bet their parents aren't so shocked, quite frankly, because where are they going to get that? They're either getting it from their parents or their friends' parents. They're not buying and selling it on the streets at 10 years old, likely. They don't have any money. So those shocked parents, maybe they ought to get some drug education. Marijuana is very dangerous for kids. I mean, people laugh, oh, it's a gateway drug. It's a gateway drug. It is a gateway drug to meth, which is a big problem here, which is now laced with fentanyl. And it just wrecks the lives of these kids. They become unproductive. We listen to a lot of wiretaps. We do wiretaps, especially on gang members, and we're listening to the wiretaps. We're doing an investigation, and those gangsters, which you don't have as much here, but they're either, as they're talking on the phone, when they're either just talking about the crime they committed or the crime they're going to commit, are all talking about their trip to the weed shop. They're smoking dope all day. They are it just really suppresses their productivity and their desire to be better. And so, I don't really talk about whether or not marijuana should be legal or not, because then you get into the whole thing, what's better than vodka, or, all that kind of stuff. But my personal opinion is it's not good for anyone. It's just no good. Yes, sir.
Seems like there's so many people that smoke.
I hear that, but I nobody in my friend circle.
Yeah, well, I've got apartments and stuff, and you walk down Diamond Street.
Yeah,
and
the young people, right.
You get down there, and it's just, you can just almost get high.
Well, we're in a lot of local parades, different parades. We run floats and different things, and some of those parades, the smell of marijuana from the people that come to the parade are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of people do, but still, they're running a risk if they're buying it in Kern County. These Rosamond pot shops are getting cancer because it is poison.
Well, they got them right down there on Diamond Street. Moved into the old real estate office, about 3 years ago? On Diamond Street.
Isn't there one in the old substation? I heard that rumor.
There was. Now it's junkyard or parts place.
Did you have a question?
Yeah.
Hi.
That's a good question, curious, because all these drug dealers are using juveniles to distribute their drugs. And what can be done, or because this affect the community, schools, parents, because Right now, you can see that 90% of the parents, the kids, they raise them by themselves. Okay, because both mom and dad have to work because they can't afford the cost of living. So, and that's that the cartels and drug dealers, they know, you know, where they're gonna catch someone. And because they started at the junior high school, and this is, and in fact, I went to live with my kids. And the school noticed, and they don't allow, or they don't let the parents know what's going on. And when the kids in trouble, they kick them out of school. Now, if the school have like counselor, meet the parents before they do with the kids, and you know, help them out to get them out of this, to become a drug dealers in the future. So because I had three of my kids, and one got started in the elementary, tropical middle school, okay, and he chewed a spell. And I said, well, what's going on? The school never called me and let me know, saying, well, this is what's going on with your daughter. Well, the only thing is, yes, send me to the board, the school board, and she's out. Okay. My oldest son, he wasn't even involved in this, but she got one day out of school because that was, I think, this day in the senior year, and they got arrested in Lancaster. Called one of the deputies from Kern County, and she said, yes, indeed. It's a day off. So he got arrested. They don't call me, even though the school knows he's not in school. You know, they don't call the parents. So we need to kind of help. Well, my all grown up and gone, but for the newest coming in, you know, it'd be nice to the school supervisor or administrator, counselor, you know, work together with the parents to help them out instead of just kick the kid out of school, because that's not the solution. You know, is a fact.
What is your question of me?
My question is.
It sounds like kind of your comment, and this is something you probably need to talk to the school
What can
district.
be done
To make the
to
school
help these
notify the
kids?
parents?
Because these drug dealers are using our kids to start their business.
Well, I would say that if your child is failing in school, if you paid attention to their report cards or that kind of thing, you're probably going to have some idea that they're not doing well. And then there's the issue of whether or not somebody that's involved in a criminal activity getting kicked out of school, what happens if they go to continuation and all that. That's a whole issue that I'm not an expert in. If you're talking about, we're seeing adults use children in order to sell their drugs because kids get in less trouble than an adult would if they get caught and convicted. That's always been the case, and it's especially true now with Prop 57. What can we do? Be careful what you vote for. When you are a voter in the state of California, when liberals put propositions on the ballot and read the fine print of what they were. Prop 47 was entitled, and our Attorney General at the time, Kamala Harris, you know her, she's now your Vice President, she entitled that proposition Safe Schools. It had nothing to do with schools, nothing. The thing was, what she said was, well, money that we will save by having people not go to prison can go to schools. Schools never got any money for Prop 47.
Yeah,
so
because,
just be careful. I really don't think I can solve your issues about your kids, but you know, it is just what it is. That's a phenomenon that children are being used, but they also know it's wrong.
Yeah, because
they know it's wrong
yeah.
to use drugs, and they have to know that if you're going to use drugs and sell drugs, there are consequences. And one of those consequences, rather than going to prison, is to get kicked out of school and the way it should be. Because you know what? Quite frankly, I didn't want my kids going to high school with some drug dealers.
Yeah, because you know,
they don't belong there.
In the area where I live, I see every day, every night, what's going on. But just to the fact that we don't have enough deputies in the community, I don't want to put my family at risk, because if they know who's calling them, they're going to go coming after my family. And
well, you know, when you want to report crime, you can do it confidentially through secret witness, 661-322-4040. No one has to come out.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions?
No. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Thank you for the comments. That's really very true, all those areas. No? Okay, well, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Cynthia. DA Zimmer. Appreciate everybody coming out today. And really enjoy having everybody here. It's a great networking opportunity, and the level of networking that we have at these meetings is just amazing. It really shows community strength. Yes, ma'am.
I believe DA Zimmer would like a group photo outside. If you can stick around for a few minutes afterwards and participate, that would be great.
You don't have to, but it's be nice.
I know.
You're a
I'm
good crew
gonna
and do a lot.
I'm gonna mandate it. that we do that. So, but I love these chamber luncheons. Just the information and the quality of people that attend is just really outstanding. It's kind of different than, no offense, Joe, but the RMAC meetings where it's just a gripe session more or less. This is really more of a networking and actually discussing community issues, not so much griping. I've always had the philosophy, if you're going to gripe, you better provide a solution, because griping doesn't do any good. Providing a solution, that's what we need to hear, So, and that's kind of what we have at these chamber meetings, so that's what I really like about it. Anyhow, I want to thank you, everybody, for coming. You don't have to leave, but we all do have to get together for a picture with Cynthia. And who's going to be the photographer? Should I get Aaron or
I'll do
Maddie?
it. I'll do it.
I think you should be in it. Aaron or Maddie?
Oh.
Can we get you to take a picture of the group outside for us? You ain't getting off that, you see.